What's up, guys? Don with the Don Fraud Show, and today's Saturday video, we're gonna do I guess, a live reaction of Graham. Graham, why he bought Bitcoin. I'm actually a little bit surprised because I thought he was against it. I don't think he was a fan of it. Shout out to the guys in the mentorship that said I should just watch this and do this live. I can't tell if you're trying to like bait me into something here, so well, here we go. That being said, I feel like this video might need some disclaimers, right? So if you're here because Graham's in the title, I trade. Now I'm not a day trader. I kind of don't believe in the 1 day, 1 minute, and I get it. Some of you guys are, and yeah, people make money, sure. I think that's a lot of noise, so I personally don't do it. And as far as the investing side, I'm not really an investor. I have some stuff I'm invested in. But it is very few because it just seems weird to me that I would buy something in hopes that in 5 or 10 years, another company doesn't come out that does it better. A new technology isn't invented. There isn't a major war. There isn't a pandemic, kind of like the one we have. It just didn't make sense to tie up a bunch of money that way. I will say, I know Graham does. He pretty much just dollar cost averages into SPY, which, how hard could that be? You can't really mess that up. That being said, I know this isn't very popular, but I don't care if you have a different opinion of mine. We can actually still be friends, right? I used to watch Graham's videos, actually. I used to even comment on him. But then he said, I'm actually in his YouTube course, I hear. He said people comment on his course to get noticed. That's when I quit. That's when I quit commenting on him. I thought Graham was cool. We're both real estate agents. We're both into cars. Both like the stock market. And, well, we both decided to pick up a camera one day and make YouTube videos. But if you're a follower of mine, you guys know I don't do anything with that, with any intent. People talk something, but they have an ulterior motive. That's not me. It's not genuine. So that kind of just turned me off. But he does a good job on his videos. He does editing far more than I do. But that's because I don't care to edit. I don't pay anybody to edit. I just click the record button and let's go. That's why most of my streams are actually live. But we're going to watch this. I'll do a reaction. Again, disclaimer. I don't care if you have a different opinion. We're allowed to have that. Just the public forgot about it. So we'll say it backwards. Craig Jaden. What's up, guys? It's Graham here. Backwards it say. Sorry, I'll quit with the jokes. Before we get going here, I'll do it too. Example, prime example. That's what you guys should do. Turn it blue. Now, if you're here because of Graham, you guys know all about it. You're going to smash, destroy, obliterate, just wipe that thing out. Do everything shy of turning green and destroying your own home network. Hit that like button. Turn it blue for me.
Here, Graham, it's guys, you up what's? Well, get ready for the price of Bitcoin to collapse into the abyss of nothing because I just bought some Bitcoin. Seriously, for some reason, when it comes to these things, it seems like the entire universe is conspiring against me and everyone is waiting to sell at the precise moment that I buy.
Okay, why are you showing that clip? Just to be clear. Okay, it's 36,000. I bought more in this zone today. I couldn't help it. If you're new to my channel, I don't use indicators. I don't do anything. I buy when it makes sense. I sell when it makes sense. I did a video the other day on buying Bitcoin. It has nothing to do with trading. In fact, I don't want to hype it up. I don't want to pump it up. It's a smaller, I guess, valuation. I don't know if I have the following to pump that up, but first of all, I can't give financial advice. Second, I wouldn't want anybody to lose money. But in a hypothetical scenario, I were to tell someone, hey, buy this, and if you lose, I'll cover your losses. This would be the one thing I would do in a hypothetical scenario. Like, what I told my following to do, I forget when I did the video, it was a little bit ago. Put your gas money in it. Every time you get paid, put a little bit of money in there. I'd actually be legitimately pissed if it went to $1 million, like the Goldman Sachs guy says. Or ex-Goldman Sachs. Because... man, if I knew that now, yeah, I would, like I said, I would commit mortgage fraud. I would just lie about getting a house, take that loan, put it all in to Bitcoin. But, you can't just be stupid with your money. So put your gas money in. It's money that if this goes to zero, you know, I didn't lose it, but I dollar cost average. Now, worst case scenario, this drops down to 3,000 and never leaves the $3,000 mark. Eventually, your average price will be 3,000, at which you could just start your sell order and wait for it to fill. You don't lose a dime. Again, I guess if you're new to my channel, my strategy is more institutional buying. That's why I watch these levels. I try to see. Now, I made fun of everyone buying Bitcoin. I even bought it when it did this spike. I bought it. I sold it. I'm very familiar with what a pump and dump looks like in the stock market. That's where the stocks are gambling comes from. Moves like this. This was all hype. It showed up on Philip DeFranco, and I thought, this is the time. His episode showed up right here. It was like 7,000. I bought it. I knew it. We came up here. I was like, the ride's about done. Happened to almost nail it perfectly, and that was it. Didn't touch it. I bought some more back. It was like the 5,000. It was right here, $5,000 mark. And then I got serious at the $16,000 mark. Now, there's technical analysis. There's fundamental analysis. What I like to talk about is characteristics of a ticker. Probably sounds very weird. Probably why I don't have 1 million subscribers, because it's not magic. It doesn't happen overnight. But when I saw institutional reaction, like that moved like a ticker with institutions buying it. Like the news that comes out that the people on the 1 day, 1 minute are looking at, that's manipulation. Like they're reading news. The move's already been made. That, I hate to say it, and I hope you do make money. That to me is the gambling aspect side. That's how you turn this into your own personal casino. But I saw it react to, because I do Forex as well. So I'm in currencies, I'm watching, I'm keeping an eye on it, and I saw that reaction. I even said, I told my group, hey, that's weird, because that's not a Bitcoin characteristic. Things are changing. Institutions are buying this. I haven't seen any news. I don't look into it, because there's really two types of people in Bitcoin. One, I will kill you if you think this isn't the new everything, and the sky is falling tomorrow, and you're only gonna be able to trade Bitcoin, and then the event that everything fails, somehow your internet and computers are still gonna work, and you're still gonna be able to use Bitcoin, and that's fine. And then there's the other camp. It's a scam. It's going to zero. It's worthless. And you know all the excuses. I'm kind of right there in the middle. I kind of didn't care about it until I saw institutions buying it, and that was kind of like, all right, now I need to pay attention. Now, first of all, I like to buy things that go up. But if this is created in 2009 to be the gold 2.0, to be the hedge against the dollar. Sorry, I don't know why I'm dying. This is supposed to be the hedge against the dollar, the place to put your money. I forget where I was going with that. Sorry. But just seeing that, and I saw institutions buying it, I thought, now is the time. Now I see this being serious. And again, there's the supply and demand aspect. The more buyers there are, it goes up. The more sellers there are, it goes down. I saw that around the 16K mark. I even made a YouTube video talking about that. I got made fun of for buying at the resistance. Hilarious. And it just went up. That being said, this will probably go for a bumpy ride, but I am probably extremely bullish on this, just for the way it's acting. It's a new characteristic. Now, if the institutions are going to ride this thing up on a going trend, you'll have retail pumping it up and then retail selling it and dropping it back. But overall, it'll continue that trend up. I don't care. I'm buying just a little bit every week. I take money out of my account every week. And that's all I'm going to do is buy some. So up, down, I don't care if it's to the moon. I don't care if it's to the floor. I already bought some. But if it does really sell off, I'm going to add a little bit more just to kind of buy it when it's cheap, kind of average down into it. So enough about me. Let's get back to Graham. Thanks for that little heart attack. And by heart attack, I thought I was going to lie to a bank.
But despite that, I said what I would do a week ago, and I bought it. Or, as some would prefer me to say, I've diversified into another asset class. This definitely was not a decision out of FOMO. It wasn't me trying to rush in to make as much money as possible, and it wasn't me just dipping in my toes to see what it's like. I just placed a portion of my portfolio into Bitcoin, and now it's there to stay. So let's talk about what happened and what changed my mind, and then I will tell you exactly what I bought, at what price, and how much. The goal of this video is to explain my thought process, just like I would do with any investment that I make. And since this video has a lot more to do than just cryptocurrency, I think it's worth watching, because I promise promise, even if you don't like cryptocurrency at all, there are some points in here that are really important to understand. And this is going to apply to everybody, no matter what you're investing in, guaranteed. Oh, and by the way, watch out for all the fake Stephan accounts in the comments section telling you to text a WhatsApp number. Those are all scammers, and as soon as I go and delete and block those accounts, they just go and make new ones. So unless you get a reply from me with a check mark next to the name, it's not me. The only things I'm ever going to ask you to do is to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and also make sure to get your 4 free stocks down below in the description, because Webull is going to be getting you 4 free stocks when you deposit $100 in the platform.
I don't have that link anymore. You guys know it. Go to his channel. Click the link. Get your four free stocks. And then don't forget all the other ones. There's Robinhood. I do have the Coinbase down below if you want to get Bitcoin. If you do put $100 into that, we get $10 worth of Bitcoin. The sooner you do that, the more Bitcoin that $10 buys. What's the other? M1 Finance. I don't have a link for that. Meet Kevin does. And you know that every 5 seconds. But go to his account and do that.
And those stocks could be worth all the way up to $1,600. So thanks so much for doing that, and now we'll get back to the topic at hand, Bitcoin. Okay, so let me explain what I've just done. I don't know why, but it feels like I'm a guilty kid trying to explain himself here, but a lot of this started a few weeks ago. Apparently, the YouTube algorithm thought it would be a good idea to start recommending Bitcoin content to me late at night when I couldn't fall asleep. So instead of doing what I should have done and close my eyes and go to sleep, I watched video after video about the intricacies of Bitcoin, what institutional investors think of it, who's buying it, who's not buying it, and any other detail you could imagine. This was around the time where it began increasing to the $20,000 range. And of course, when any newsworthy event happens that's in any way related to investing and making money, I get thousands of comments asking for my thoughts or to make a video talking about Bitcoin. Now, initially, I shrugged it off because I'm not a cryptocurrency channel, and there are other people out there who know way more about this than I do. But once I ran out of video ideas, then I thought, okay, fine, I'll make a video about Bitcoin, and so it begins. In a recent video, I shared my thoughts, I shared my concerns, I was very critical with several aspects, and I said I wouldn't mind placing a very small percentage of my total portfolio into Bitcoin just as another way to diversify. I thought it was a fairly well-balanced, neutral standpoint. I didn't exactly endorse anyone buying Bitcoin, but I didn't exactly dismiss it either. But yeah, that did not stop a lot of people from making response videos as to what I had to say. Honestly, this is the part of YouTube I absolutely love. It's as though we become this interconnected family of friends who aren't afraid to share their thoughts, tell me what I can improve on, and offer their criticism, and I'm open to it. Anytime I make a video, I listen very intently to what people have to say, and I want to hear as many different perspectives as possible. I'm not afraid of being wrong, and I realize there's always more that I could learn and understand. So I watched a lot of your response videos, and chances are, if you made a video with Stephan and Bitcoin in the title, chances are I've seen it. And I would say there's a few main points that people disagreed with. The first was my claim that cryptocurrencies are subject to price manipulation, and I used the 2017 run-up as an example that pushed up the price right before it dropped 80%. Now, the counter-argument that many people used is that, sure, cryptocurrencies can be manipulated, but so could any other currency, and that's confirmed. The most recent example would come from...
Let me tell you guys something about manipulation. Of course, you guys bring in a new money to the markets. Those articles you read, you're silly if you think you caught that move, right? The money's already been moved behind the scenes. It's not, you can call tinfoil hat theory, call it whatever you want. There's a reason you're reading it. If there's billions and millions on the line, how much do you think it costs? I got billions on the line. I could pay this guy over here, hey, write that report, make it sound bearish or bullish. The algos will grab the headlines. They'll go after that. And then you will lose your mind thinking you got it, and then you'll move that. Everyone trading the market, at least, that thinks they got this, they fall in this trap of the more they know, the better they'll do. So they're out there just scouring, looking for news like they can do anything. And by the time you read that article, that move's already been made. That's what manipulation is. They are sending it one way, giving you the illusion, look here while I'm doing this over here. So the whole manipulation thing, trust me, if you're in any of this, this was made for banks to make money off of other banks. You are a mouse in an elephant stampede. They can wipe you out easily. Manipulation, that's the name of the game. And they're better at it. And they have money to move the market. And remember, you don't. So quit trying to move the market. Just move with it, not against it.
From JP Morgan, who has fined almost $1 billion for manipulating the price of precious metals. So even though, yes, anything could be subject to market manipulation, institutional banks are much more likely to be scrutinized and regulated by the SEC, which is most likely to pursue those charges, not so much with Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency is still a relatively new, difficult to regulate industry. And I think for a lot of people, they like that the SEC is not as actively involved as, let's say, mainstream banks. So while anything can be manipulated, Bitcoin is much less scrutinized than other companies or assets, at least right now. Next, we got to talk about something that nearly everybody called me out for, and that were my thoughts on regulation. I said that the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network proposed a new regulation that would require people identify themselves and their personal information upon request when transferring more than $3,000. My thought was that this somewhat gives up the anonymity that many people like about Bitcoin to begin with. And many people chimed in to say that sure, even though it can be tracked, everything can be tracked. And they believe that regulation is one step closer to legitimizing it for investors. And you know what? I think that's a good point, and I agree. I think the more regulation put in place, the more serious and comfortable people will feel with Bitcoin. But I think it also has the potential to lose its original allure of placing your money in something that's completely decentralized and completely separate from everything else. So after that, we got to talk about
regulation is probably going to bring it'll make this valid in most people's eyes. The people that are buying it saying it can't be tracked and all that was these people right here. That's the pump and dump, I bought something digital because it can't be tracked because you probably think the CIA is about to put nanites in you in this new vaccine coming out. Like you can't be tracked anyway. First of all, you have a phone in your hand right now. You're being tracked. Like they don't need the Bitcoin, and it's a digital. Anything digital, by the way, leaves a trail. So I never got the whole tracking argument. Decentralized. I don't get it. Like if they wanted to know what you were doing, they can find every bit of it. I never got on that argument. It's digital. That's how it works. Anyway, Graham, what were you doing under your desk? Why did you just pop up like that? Did that make it more interesting? Do I need to vanish and just show up out of my desk somewhere? Let's do a double take real quick. Hang on.
More serious and comfortable people will feel with Bitcoin. But I think it also has the potential to lose its original allure of placing your money in something that's completely decentralized and completely separate from everything else. So after that, we got to talk about value. I say that traditional investment.
Thought you said Valium for a second, and I was curious maybe you were looking for that on the floor. I've been doing it wrong this whole time. All my lamps are in front of me. I gotta have one behind me. Where dreams come true? That'd be sweet. My poster says you can't deposit excuses. That's a cool desk, though.
Are backed by an income-producing company with a tangible product or service that posts revenue and profits for its investors. Not so much with Bitcoin, which is really trading at its price just because it's trading at its price. The way I see it is that there's no specific reason why it's trading at $40,000 instead of $20,000 or instead of $60,000. It just is. Now, the counter-argument that other people...
Before we get into counter arguments, guys, this is a very important aspect to the stock market and everything. These markets are efficient. The price ultimately is king. It's where it's at because that's what everyone says it should be at. This is a continuous online auction. When there's more buyers, it goes up. More sellers, it goes down. If everyone thought it wasn't worth $36,000 right now, or worse, the top 36,350, it's January 15th, right after this video came out, just 10 o'clock at night. If everyone thought it wasn't worth that, they would start selling, and it wouldn't be worth that. So, just the belief in general, the belief that it's going up. That's just supply and demand. When the supply doesn't increase and the demand does, people start to go up. Imagine sitting at an auction and the guy says, "Hey, will you take this?" No one says no. The price, it just starts. If everyone says yes, everyone says yes, it just starts climbing up. It's just how it works. I'm not going to sell like Tesla. The reason Tesla's just keeps going up. No one's selling their shares. Yeah, they keep doing dilution, and they're adding capital to the banks. And then every Tesla shareholder says, "Well, that's awesome, sweet. They got more money now. I'm not selling my shares ever." So they might as well just have a smaller market cap because no one's selling anything. And if no one sells Bitcoin, if Graham is going to dollar cost average, if his followers invest like Graham, they just buy it. That's not traded. That's actually just bought, which soaks it up, which in fact, on the opposite hand, on the other side of the coin, creates the demand aspect because there's fewer and fewer. While it's being mined, you got Square, PayPal buying it up, institutions buying it up. Now you got investors starting to buy it up. Wait till someone like Google, Tesla, Apple, someone says, "We got this much cash on hand. Let's convert some of that to Bitcoin." And then watch what happens that day. You think this is too much? Wait till the real big names start buying this. Company names. Graham, you're a big YouTuber. Everyone knows who you are.
made is that there is value in the network effect of Bitcoin, and that the more people use it, the more trust is built and more likely you are to get the price that you ask. There's also value in supply and demand, as more people demand an alternative asset to their money. There's also value in the institutional belief of the concept, and that's something worth paying attention to. As Tommy Heavy pointed out, MicroStrategy has bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin recently. Grayscale's Bitcoin investment fund raised over $3 billion last quarter, and data has shown that large institutional investors are driving a lot of the demand. Now, the argument
MicroStrategy is the one that was telling Elon to do it.
Speculators who don't really care about Bitcoin at all, and they just want to make as much money as possible in as little time as possible. And still, none of the 10 largest asset managers have bought Bitcoin yet. However, I don't doubt the bigger players are getting in the game, and that's worth addressing. We can agree to disagree when it comes to analyzing the true value and worth of Bitcoin, because I'm sure most of that is going to be subjective, depending on what metrics you want to use. There's also the argument that the more Bitcoin grows, the less risky and volatile it's going to become. Or as billionaire Bill Mayer says, Bitcoin's total supply is growing less than 2% a year, and it's obvious by the price that the demand is growing much, much faster than that. However, he recognizes that volatility is not going anywhere anytime soon. And for something so new, you should not be buying it if you can't handle the fluctuations in price. So here's where I stand on all of this. One, I think it's always a good idea to be open to criticism, never take it personally, and always be open to hearing another viewpoint, even if you disagree with it. I fully acknowledge that when it comes to this space, I can barely dip my toes in compared to the involvement of others. So I fully expect that I would have a lot to learn in this space. I also recognize that viewpoints and perspectives will change over time. And as I've gotten older, the more I've understood the importance of diversification. Like, I know if you were to ask 24-year-old me what I should invest in, I know he would tell me to continue dumping all of my money into real estate, buying dilapidated duplexes and triplexes, and then rent them out for passive income. But the thing is, as I've gotten older and hopefully a little wiser, the more I valued the peace of mind in owning a little bit of everything. Now, even though I did end up buying 2 properties last year, the vast majority of my money went into the stock market. My current goal is to have as much money invested in the stock market as I do in real estate, just so I'm not too reliant on one asset class over another. I've also taken it a step further and become an angel investor in 3 startup companies. 2 of them I can't mention quite yet, but the one I can talk about is the savings account Yada Bank, which is a new concept where users can earn up to $10 million. Link down below in the description for anyone who wants to try that out.
What do I need to do to get doors open like that?
Alongside that, I'm also trying to diversify my income. I've started 2 other YouTube channels completely independent of this one. I've launched a mentorship group. I'm soon announcing my coffee company, and I have another little something in the works that I could probably talk about in about a month or so. This makes me feel so much more relaxed that no matter what happens to one of them, I'm still going to have a whole bunch left over to fall back on. And when I feel less stressed about this stuff, I just tend to do better, more productive work. Go figure. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. With that diversification also comes Bitcoin. In my last video, I said I wouldn't be opposed to investing 1 to 3% of my portfolio into Bitcoin and then just letting it ride. And so I've invested that 1%. It might not sound like a lot, but the real catalyst was when the price went to $40,000 and then suddenly out of nowhere dropped down to $30,000. So once that happened, I figured, you know what, why not? I bought into Bitcoin around the low 32,000 range, and then I also bought some Ethereum around $1,100. And then I went with this.
Nice. So he bought it when prices dropped off, and the other guy said volatility's not going anywhere. I think this is the point that I forgot. If institutions going to drive it up like this, if they're just projected growth, they're buying it up, the supply and demand. The people that buy and that never sell basically just take it off the board, creating that demand. What ends up happening is the retail crew, they getting hyped, they getting carried away, and then the selling because it's too high and it comes back down, at which other banks will be gobbling it up, they'll buy it up, and it pushes it right back up. And we'll get that continued effect. So, buying it down here at the buying it on the red days. If I were going to buy it, this is the one time I am actually just saying I would focus more on a consistent buy-in than I would timing this one, because it will be all over. And the characteristic of this thing is it just shoots up 100%, it falls back 50%, and sure, it look back hindsight, oh, you could have bought then. I've been buying it as it drops down, but I would focus more on, I got some money, toss it in there, average it up. If this thing's going, analysts are saying 500, 650,000. The ex-Goldman Sachs guy says 1 million. Who cares if you bought it at 40,000, 50,000, or 30,000? That's pennies compared to what's coming. So far, I don't disagree with him. He put a small portion of his money in there. That's what I think everyone should be exposed to this, just a little bit. There's the YOLO people. I think they'll just coincidentally be right. They'll be the richest guys out of all of us, but I still wouldn't follow their lead. It's just going to be a coincidence.
60-40 split between the two. To me, this is an amount that I'm not going to lose any sleep over. It's not going to bother me if it drops 50 to 80%, and it's something where if I lose all of it, I'll be totally okay. And even though losing 1% of my portfolio would be a disappointment, it's not the end of the world. That means I'm not going to be concerned with volatility. It's not going to stress me out, but I could still have a small amount invested just in the event it proves to do well long term. This is a similar approach taken by the billionaire Paul Tudor Jones, who's an avid proponent of Bitcoin. For him, he's openly talked about holding 1 to 2% of his portfolio in Bitcoin, and I see the appeal of this type of diversification. However, I still
My question is as your portfolio grows, do you buy more? Or just your current portfolio now, you just buy it, toss it in there, and see what happens? I guess, I mean, there's nothing against that, but why not add on? Why? Everyone's got their own plan. I was just curious.
Very much take the stance that no one knows where this is going to be trading at in the future or what it's going to be worth a few years from now. There have been so many price predictions which have never come true, or others which completely devalue how well Bitcoin is done. So as the universe is conspiring.
Oh, great. Well, for the record, I was going to be sarcastic and say, for the record, I told you guys Bitcoin is pulling back this week, and it did. And it got bought right back up. It sucks. Okay, value. Dang it. That's what I get for trying to be sarcastic or smart. Where are we at?
An angel investor in 3 startup companies.
Oh, thanks for reminding me.
But
you got all the cool
alongside that, I'm also trying to diversify my income. I started 2 other YouTube channels completely into. Back to the topic at hand. With that diversification also comes Bitcoin. In my last video, I said I wouldn't be opposed to investing 1 to 3% of my portfolio into Bitcoin and then just letting it ride. And so I've invested at 1%. It might not sound like a lot, but the real catalyst was when the price went to $40,000 and then suddenly out of nowhere dropped down to $30,000. So once that happened, I figured, you know what, why not? I bought into Bitcoin around the low 32,000 range, and then I also bought some it's going to be trading at in the future or what it's going to be worth a few years from now. There have been so many price predictions which have never come true, or others which completely devalue how well Bitcoin is done. So as neutral as I still am on Bitcoin, I would rather take the 1% risk and be in it than the 1% risk and be out of it. I'm definitely not a risky investor, and I tend to play it overly safe with the other 99%. And some might even argue that 1% isn't even worth it. But for me, I care more about preserving my money in a well-diversified portfolio than I am about trying to maximize the profits for every single dollar. If I were...
So to the people telling them 1% isn't worth it, you sound like they're religious people. I will murder your family if you don't put everything into Bitcoin. No. So the money's going to grow? Like that, I say that to the people that are like, you're not even buying whole coins, you're just buying partials. Like, you're putting money in and your money goes up. It's worth it. Because right now the dollar's going down. So, yeah. If it stayed even and the dollar went down, it would still be worth it. That's a dumb thing to say.
A young whippersnapper again, maybe I would think differently. But for where I am right now in my life and my career, I feel like a 1% allocation just makes the most sense. And lastly, let me just say this. Many of my original thoughts on Bitcoin remain unchanged. I still think it could potentially collapse down to nothing. I also think it might head to 100,000. I don't think any amount of charting or analysis is going to accurately predict when and where this will end up. So I would never advocate anyone... Because
I do charting. I actually agree. This thing, it's too new. It's in its infancy stage. This... I would pretend that never happened. That was some hype. It went away. Now the game changed right here. We may have gotten a little carried away. We need to probably come back down to earth. But if big names are going to get into this, charting will be more important once everyone's in it. Once all the players are on the field, then we can probably accurately chart it, and I can start saying it's going to go here, here, there, there. It'll be a lot easier to read. Right now, this is brand new. We don't know its attitude. We don't know anything about it yet. It's still in its infancy stage. This is actually still a brand new asset class.
Buying in an amount that they're not fully prepared to lose. In the big picture of investing, Bitcoin is still very new. I still think 12 years of history is not enough to estimate a value 30 to 50 years from now. There's so many unknowns that could really throw a curveball at this at any moment, and that's something to be prepared for. I also believe there's no harm in taking profits if you're overly invested and you have too much of your portfolio in a volatile asset like this. But most important of all, for everyone watching, I just think it's a good trait to be open to criticism, to be able to hear people out, and be open to learning something new. I definitely would not be here today if I closed myself off to new insights or I felt like I knew it all and didn't need to hear anything else. And finally, the last big...
The day you do that's the day you start losing.
takeaway from this is diversification. This year's been a big change for me in my portfolio. I've gone from 90% real estate to having money in real estate, stocks, bonds, cash, multiple businesses, angel investments, and so on. I believe the more you invest around, the more stable and consistent your income is going to grow. And for me, that diversification coincides with a 1% investment in Bitcoin. And hey, you know what? Now we can check back 5 years from now and just see how all of this has played out. Oh, and also remember how I told you I would show you the free stocks I got from Webull? Well, guess what? Let's open them up now. First one I got is Ford. Kid you not, I got another Ford. Come on, focus. And then we also got AGI. So if you guys want free stocks too, just use the link down below in the description, and Webull is going to be giving you 4 free stocks when you deposit $100 on the platform, and those stocks could be worth all the way up to $1,600. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to destroy the subscribe button and the notification bell. Also, feel free to add me on Instagram. I post it pretty much daily, so if you want to be a part of it there, feel free to add me there as my second channel, the Stephan Show. I'm posting there every single day. I don't post here. So if you want to see a brand new video from me every single day, make sure to add yourself to that. And lastly, like I mentioned, you want your 4 free stocks, use that link down below. Let me know which 4 free stocks you get.
I've actually bought the Graham Stephan's YouTube course. I haven't watched it yet. I bought it just to, I don't know, I do that. I'm weird like that. Like, if somebody has a channel, they do a good job, I do it just to support them. But is that what I need to do? Do you teach me the angles of the shock face? I don't know. I don't know what the reaction would be for this video. I kind of agree with everything he's saying. I've disagreed with Graham before because, you know, investment is just different viewpoints. But hey, if you're buying Bitcoin, yeah, I agree. I think any extreme far left, far right, it doesn't matter. Like, it's going to 0, it's going to 1 billion. I would probably pump the brakes on listening to those guys. I think remaining keeping a neutral look on this, but being exposed to it, dollar cost average into this is probably the best advice I think anyone can give on this right now. Yeah, it moves up 100%, down 50%. That's Bitcoin. Buckle up. You're going for a ride. Again, not one I'm interested in trading. This is one of the first things I just want to buy and dollar cost average in. So, that's it. I don't do these reaction videos very much. What do you say at the end? All the other YouTube stuff, like button, subscribe, bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.